This is Lindsey Huddleston coming at you from the Horatio Williams annual golf outing taking place at the beautiful Shenandoah Golf Club in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. I'm Lindsey Huddleston with Sports Psychology Solutions. I'm very fortunate to be in the presence of a legend, not only to the city of Detroit, not only to the state of Michigan, but throughout the country and even the world, Mr. Perry Watson. And I thank you for taking time to come out here. But let's talk a little bit about your relationship with Horatio. Brief overview for those who've been living in the dark for a long time but don't know about you and your background and just where we're at with the current generation of athletes. But talk about your relationship with Horatio Williams.
Well, I met Horatio when I was a high school coach at Detroit Southwestern, and he was the guy that came around and introduced himself to a lot of the coaches. We had a coaches association, and I was just impressed with the fact that he was really caring about the players that didn't have.
Sure.
He was willing to try and get shoes for teams that needed them, teams that maybe needed uniforms, and just provide any type of assistance that he could.
Right.
Fortunately for me at that time, we were a championship program, and we had all the necessities. And I think Horatio was really impressed that I wasn't one of those guys go say, give it to me too. I was like, go to the guys that really need it. And our relationship has really evolved from there to me going to Michigan, to coming to the University of Detroit, because I continue to see his passion for helping young people and being involved in their life evolve.
Wow. So going back to you being at Southwestern to now, what brings you out to the golf outing? I mean, you're here at the golf outing years later. You've always been supporting the golf outing and everything that's going on, right?
Yeah, it's really my relationship with Horatio. And now I understand exactly more than just basketball that he does for young people. So anytime I'm available for anything he's doing, whether it's speaking to the coaches at the Second Chance event he runs, whether it's coming to the golf outing to just provide good cheer and camaraderie to everybody and tell the Horatio Williams story.
Right, that's great. We laughed off camera about when I see EL Inspirations. Happy birthday, man. This guy was on my high school basketball team, Ernest. And when you guys from Southwestern came into Henry Ford back in 1991, it's like the whole gym got dark. Y'all was so big. Y'all had Nike sponsorships, but you guys had beyond what was an elite program then with individuals like Jalen Rose, of course, Voshan Leonard, all these D1 guys. Talk about that experience compared to where we are now. And not to say we're not where we were, but how do we work to kind of get back to that as it relates to that? And I always say that from a mental toughness standpoint as a sports psychology consultant.
Well, you can say we're not.
Yeah, okay, we're not. Right.
I think the big difference is that when I was coaching, and even before I was coaching, all your coaches were like teacher, educators, coaches.
That's true.
And that generation of gentlemen, we came through the era where we knew that we had to be twice as good to get the same job. I mean, we passed that message on to our kids. We always prided ourselves at Southwestern that we was the hardest working team. Even though we were blessed with talent some years that was superior, nobody outworked us. And we carried that over to the academic side of it. And when you said our guys are always going D1, well, they were going because they were qualified academically and they had the test scores. But that was synonymous of amongst all the Detroit public school coaches. And I think the change, and sometimes change is good, but I think the change now is you don't have many educators that are coaching our kids. And I know the population has gotten older, the school size have gotten smaller, and a lot of people don't want to take on the responsibility of coaching. So you have to get coaches from wherever you can. And there's a lot of coaches that are in other professions that maybe don't tie into the educational component, but they're very good coaches. But I think you have to coach the whole child. And I think that's a big difference that's going on now.
So the emphasis on education. So again, for those who don't know, from Southwestern and its success, University of Michigan, University of Detroit, and even being affiliated with the Orlando Magic up until a short time. Now, what can you tell a young guy who wants to get into coaching, as well as a young prospect who has a lot of possibilities of what people who've been in your role are looking for, whether it's a coach trying to ascend or a player trying to make it to the highest level?
Well, let's talk about the coach first, because I speak to a lot of young coaches, and I'm like old school. I tell them, don't put the horse before the cart before the horse. Because some of them are already going to the business wanting to be a college coach, wanting to be a pro coach. And again, I just look back on my experience, and always coached and did the job I had.
Do the job you had.
You know, and
Okay,
I tried to do it really well.
Right.
And people will notice.
Mhm.
You know, I had never applied for a college job.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
But when Steve Fisher asked me to join his staff at Michigan, I asked him, why me, Steve?
Okay.
And he said, look, I've watched you. I've coached Antoine Jobert. I've coached Leslie Rockamore. I've seen you bring young kids to watch them practice and so forth, so forth. And he said, I told my wife, if I ever get a head job, I'm hiring him.
Wow.
So I try to tell young people, you know, you do your job really well. Learn your craft.
Learn your craft.
You know, so that if you do get opportunity, you're not going there and they're trying to teach you how to coach. So that's what I tell young people. You know, do your job really well. Put kids first.
Sure.
Because again, if you're starting to put your needs first, then it's not a good situation. For players to attract attention and to be able to play at the next level, I think again they have to develop a work ethic. You can't be looking to go off the basketball court, whether it's to the beach or to the show or whatever. You have to put your work in.
Gotta put your work in.
And once you put your work in and you become fundamentally sound and very good at your skills, you got a chance to open some eyes. Because all coaches want skilled players.
Skilled players.
Whether it's the NBA, whether it's college, whether it's high school. And then you just got to hope that maybe God has blessed you with what you need to go to the next level. Because if you're talking NBA, I mean, length, height, and athletic ability is a necessity.
Sure.
And sometimes we have some very good players that don't have those aspects.
Right.
So your ceiling may be college.
Sure.
You know, some other players, their ceiling may be high school.
Sure.
But again, if you work hard at your craft, develop your fundamentals, have a work ethic, you got a chance to not only be successful, but you also got a chance to really enjoy what you're doing.
Wow, that's important. I just want to put a pin in those things as we conclude that. For those coaches out there who want to excel, Coach Watson is saying you have to learn your craft and not be so ambitious that you're looking for the next opportunity as opposed to being great. And with your stellar resume, you say you never applied for a job because you were doing the job that you had.
Right.
And then for our young people, it's about work ethic. The last thing I'll ask, can you develop that term a little bit more, work ethic? Because I think many people may use it carelessly, but not really have a lot. So what would you say work ethic is as we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's really correct. Just like a lot of people say somebody is great. It's an overused term. What I would say with work ethic is the fact that you're willing to work to exhaustion.
Oh, wow.
You know, if you're out on the court and you're trying to get your shots up, work to exhaustion.
Work to exhaustion. Okay, that's major.
And that's the main thing. Then you got to have high goals. You know, if I'm going to shoot jump shots, then maybe I'm not leaving the court until I make 10 in a row from all my spots that I'm shooting at.
Wow.
And that will take you to exhaustion, but you can't shortcut it. I mean, there's no shortcut to success.
Wow, that's great. So with that, we're here at the Horatio Williams Annual Golf Outing. We have great Perry Watson, a humble guy, but I'll sing his praises. I thank you for sharing with us. But again, any final words to those out there who don't know much about Horatio, may want to support, or just need to know some great things that's happening?
I think they ought to get to know him. If they don't know him now, and you have a passion for young people and young people being successful, a lot of people say, I want to give back. I don't know where to go.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Get to know Horatio Williams because he's totally involved with young people.
He totally is. You've been great, Coach. I appreciate you for sharing. Good luck out there. Go ahead. They got a car out there you can win, so go ahead and go for it, man.
I appreciate
it. We go for there. Signing off.
All right.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. You have a good one.
You too, Coach.